it is very clear that a liability will be imposed on you. Professional liability, yeah, this is a different category. This is where someone depends on your expertise in a certain area, then they are laymen, and then you end up having errors or omissions, and then they end up losing on their end. So you have to be the one to compensate them for that. There is what we call strict liability. Strict liability is where there's no need to prove negligence. You enter into an area that you know is very risky. So regardless of whether or not you are to blame, then you're held liable for that. So there's some images there that help us have a picture of what this is. The first one there, maybe anyone can raise their hand and tell us where they can place the first image, the first one on the right, top right, whether it is negligence or whether it is contractual. Maybe anyone there or any other that you can see here. I think I don't see any hands, but on the first one, you can see it's a form of car rental agreement. You want to use the car for 5-10 days. Those guys are going to ask you, just sign here. Then if something happens to the car, you think that the vehicle is insured and you take it to them, then they're going to tell you, you did not read this clause, that you are the one who is responsible for the repairs. So such kind of things keep happening to us. If you look at number 2 image there, it's a tanker, an oil tanker in the sea. That is strict liability. Yeah, once you are on the sea with the fuel, then you are liable in case of anything. You can see there someone was trying to open a car door, and there is a path. You end up injuring someone. The judge is going to interpret that as a form of negligence. You had a duty of care to other road users, which you breached. Then there's a doctor there who is really scratching his head. I don't know, maybe what happened. Maybe he misdiagnosed the patient. It's because the patient has gotten a second opinion, and now they are on your case. The last one there seems to be a form of workplace injury. So maybe I would put that under statute. The work environment, there are those measures that you are required to take, either from the Factories Act or from Work Injury Benefits Act. So if there is a breach of those requirements, then you find yourself in trouble. Next, Maureen. So having seen the sources of liability, how would you reduce this risk of liabilities? That is the question in most boardrooms today. Most companies learn the hard way. Once you have a judgment against you of 10, 50 million, then now you sit back and you start looking at your liabilities. So one, you have to follow the laws, regulations, and standards. All these policies that we have, they help us. They are the internal policies. There are those contracts that we have in the office. There are safety standards for every industry, and there are regulations for every industry. If you follow those, you are not likely. Okay, you can still have a liability incident, but it will be at a lower magnitude because already you have taken a few measures. And what happens? Well, you have already followed. I think we have lost that presentation. Maureen, please confirm. Sorry, give us 1 minute to get back the presentation. Thank you, Maureen. I think all of us can be able to see. Yeah, so non-compliance is one of the biggest causes of liability claims. You'll always find that if you go back to your own policies, internal policies, be it an ICT policy, there's a clause that helps to guard against data privacy, breach of privacy, and such. If you go to those policies, the HR policy, there's how you're supposed to dismiss an employee. Every time you have an incident, you find that the policies were not very well followed. So it's good for us to keep up to date with those standards. Number two, you have to have a strong risk management within your organization, uh, be it risk assessments, the audits, so many of them by different people, but they all talk about the same things: site inspections and incident reviews. You sit down and look at all the incidences you've had this year, say with your customers or with your products, and then you are able to see, to find a trajectory or to find out what's happening. Here internally at Liaison Group, we do have a risk management department headed by our Faith Koki. And actually, I know she's having her exams, but she's able to offer to anyone who is insured with the Liaison, be it from healthcare, risk and insurance, trust, pension. If you make a request, she actually helps clients to do some risk management, come up with a risk profile for their business, and also an insurance register to cover some of those risks. Some are not insurable, but she's going to give you advice on how to handle them. Let's go next. Yeah, maintaining safe operations. All operations, from factories to offices, they require some safety measures and some supervision so that everyone is safe at the workplace. Be it a wet, a slippery floor, it could be anything. So you can be without an incident for 10 years, but that one day that you get a major claim, then you realize you've been ignoring that slippery floor. Training employees regularly, and I'm happy that so many corporates have sent their members for this webinar. We do have quite several, and this is part of training that is actually very important. Let's go next. Yeah, using clear contracts. Every time you sign a contract, take time to read it. And if you know someone in that industry, uh, just share with them, then they'll give you some feedback. If you are out there insuring something, maybe not through us, and you've heard of Dennis from Liaison, just share what's up. Ask me, do you think I can proceed with this? And then you are going to have some clear contracts and that are not against you. Proper documentation. Do you have incident reports at your workplace? How do you record complaints? Because those complaints keep escalating, and then eventually they become a legal issue. So do you have those records? And in case of an incident, was it documented? And we are saying that good records are critical for defending claims. You are able to show a judge that actually, yes, I'm aware of that incident. This is the report from the security manager or the product manager. We did some tests on the product. And this is the outcome. You see, the judge will also see that you have done some reasonable due care. Let's go next. Yeah, monitoring third parties. So many of the assignments that we have, some of them are subcontracted. But do we take time to look at what the subcontractors are doing on the other side? And they're acting on our behalf. So if something goes wrong, a client can decide to sue you and your subcontractor, or even you as the principal in that arrangement. So look at them, look at your service providers, since you pay them anyway. So they need to give the best services they are able to offer. There you are going to ensure due diligence, look at the insurance policies, verify they are protected. You find that sometimes you also get an employee who is not your employee, then they get injured, only for you to discover that the real employer never took an insurance on them, but not the incidents happened within your premises. So how do you handle that? So it's good to have these checks. Maintaining adequate insurance. There's an image there of an insurance register, which is what our teams here at Risk and Insurance do. They give you an overview that you have taken these policies. So this and this is fully covered. However, you have some exposures here and here, and this is how they can be handled. So if anything happens that is beyond your insurance register, then you know that there's an issue because we should have picked it. So it helps us tick that we actually have this, rather than regret once an incident has happened and it was not even captured that you're not even insured on it. It's best that you know that I'm able to have 10 policies. These risks are okay, but there are some 5 policies that I'm going to take in future, and then you are aware of the risk. Let's go next. Yes, thank you. So what do you do if you see an incident that has the potential to cost you financially in terms of liability? First, you need to act fast. Act immediately and respond quickly, prevent further damage, and if it's a material damage, secure the scene where appropriate. So if it was a motor vehicle incident, someone is injured, that's why you find yourself taking someone to the hospital, because either way, if you're able to save their life, even liability on your end will be reduced. And also, it's also a good thing for you to do. I'm thinking of maybe a pharmacist, professional negligence. She or he misinterpreted doctor's instructions. So you discover after a day. So some people are going to keep quiet and wait for an incident to be reported, or someone to come complaining. But you can actually do something. You can look at how they made their payments, maybe M-Pesa, give someone a call, tell them, I think you have an issue here. Then you are able to prevent further injury or further damage. Gather evidence. We have CCTV everywhere. Any documents, any photos taken actually go a long way in helping someone who was not there understand what exactly happened and the sequence of events. Report the incident internally. We have had situations where, for example, a driver goes there, had an incident, a small incident with someone on the road. They don't want to report to the HR or the logistics manager. Then after 2 years, you find yourself with summons to appear in court for an incident. So, but if you report internally, at least there's some record. An insurer is going to be informed. So if you are taken to court after 3 years, someone will say, yes, 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 this was mentioned. And then the insurance company can take it up. So usually insurers are not very happy taking up matters where they were not reported to them, because the chances of them going the wrong way are high, because evidence has been tampered with. The other party has had all the time to put up their documents in order. But on this end, you find that we don't have anything. So we are likely to get a very high court award. So it's always good to report all incidences. Let us decide what is major and what is not major, but you are covered on your end. And you see, it doesn't affect your premium that much, because either way, nothing is being paid right now, just investigations and documentation. Avoid admitting liability prematurely. Don't be so quick to admit. You've heard of the phrase that anything you say can and will be used against you. So that is what it means. You go saying sorry, oh, I did not realize this. You already admitted liability. So if you appear before a judge, it's already now you're only discussing about the percentage, but you're already liable. So you leave it to the experts. It's not bad to acknowledge a wrong, but be very, very careful so that you don't prejudice your insurer or any other party that will also be involved. Let's go next. I think you're having a small issue with the internet. So Maureen, I'm still on the other page. Thank you. 5, seek legal and insurance advice. In a situation, you need a lawyer. Other situations, you need an insurer or an insurance consultant like ourselves, a loss adjuster. And these are our friends. So whenever you have an incident, if you know of a lawyer, just try to get some information. It can help you. You'll get advice that will help you to reduce a very large exposure. Cooperate with investigations, very, very important, because investigators, like for the insurance investigators, they are working for the good of the insurance company, which means also for your good. So provide documents, any records needed, any witnesses, have them cooperate, but ensure communication is controlled and accurate. What you have said, that what you say can and will be used against you. Mitigate further loss. We also talked about that. If you're a manufacturer and a product is out there and you've realized there's an issue, recall that product. The cost of recalling might be lower than the cost that you'll incur in terms of compensation. If it's a system is compromised, I see ICT experts know what to do. If there is unsafe condition, you can repair, all to mitigate further losses. I'm sure we have seen that it happens a lot with vehicle manufacturers. You find that they are saying for this model, 2026, we are recalling all the units, 100,000, 200,000 units from all over the world. They'll be recalled, and whatever is an issue has to be looked at. Review the root cause. So after the incident, after things have cooled down, look at the investigation report, see where the failures came from, and then use that information to improve the controls. So you prevent reoccurrence of similar events. Let's go next. Yeah, now you've already handled an incident and everything is in order. Uh, Either way, there might be a financial implication on your end. Now that's where insurance comes in, and that's where we also come in, because something happened and you need to make good because you are held liable. Now, there are several products here that we do have here, and it's good for everyone to consider them. Like public liability, number one there. Public liability, everyone who is operating a business premises should be having this cover. If someone comes as a supplier or as a visitor, they lose someone came with a laptop, it's missing. They came for a meeting in your premises. Yeah, someone came, was injured when your employees were going on with their duties. So nowadays, because of the awareness that we spoke about when you started, someone goes out there to a hospital, then a friend is going to mention that, oh, this one you should have gotten some very good compensation. We have started seeing these claims here. I think recently we had one for a hotel where someone was wearing a suit of about 100,000. They sat in a hotel and then there was an issue and it got torn. So you have to make good of that claim because you have provided unsafe environment for that person. Yes, Maureen, I think it has jumped to the next page. We need to go to the previous. Yes, we were talking about public liability, product liability, anyone in manufacturing, either as a manufacturer or someone who is handling a certain product, or where you are doing either labeling or any other service that is part of the chain. So you'd be held liable along with the real manufacturer if that product causes harm to anyone else. Professional indemnity, this is now common for most professionals. Doctors were the first ones. There are so many incidences of misdiagnoses and errors and omissions. Lawyers also. You lose a case that you should not have lost because of your lawyer. You will definitely get another lawyer and run to court. Engineers, you give an approval for a 50-story building, then it is found out that your consulting services has led to the building coming down. Insurance brokers, we advise. So we also need to have our own professional indemnity policies, which we have. We advise, and if we mislead our clients, then we are held liable. Any other consultant, accountants, HR consultants, you help a company hire someone only for them to discover that even their documents were fake. They might come to you seeking for compensation for the 2 years that employee was working with them and was not giving the best because obviously was not qualified. So there are so many claims. They come from you can actually not predict them. Employer's liability, anyone who is an employer, anyone who has a workplace, and sometimes we think that employers are just the corporates. So even in our homes, we are employers. Someone gets injured while working for you. At some point, they'll get advice, and you'll find yourself at the chief's office, eventually before a judge, because someone got injured while working for you. And it is regardless of whether or not you are negligent. By the mere fact that someone was working for you, the Work Injury Benefits Act is very clear that anyone working for you gets injured in the course of employment, then you have to settle that. So in our, I'm sure you've been seeing our online products, and on our domestic package policy, there's a place when you want to procure insurance, it's going to ask you to choose whether you want to insure your domestic employees. I think you only charge about 500 shillings per employee in any home. And then the cover is provided, and it can actually save you from a lot. We have seen claims coming from that. Directors and officers liability or executives, directors, their managers, and the officers with delegated authority. You make decisions on day-to-day basis. That decision can lead to either the shareholders losing money or the customers incurring expenses, anything, or even employees. And there could be a liability on your end as an individual. So directors and officers liability insurance is also, most managers are taking it up. And we find that the employers are going to pay for that because either way they are working for the companies. Medical malpractice insurance is one of the oldest forms of liability insurance because of what we keep hearing in that sector. It's quite sensitive. So here, the hospital has this coverage, but we also encourage individuals to also have their own policies. We have seen instances where a hospital says, hey, no, this one, our insurance is not going to be involved. This doctor was not acting within our protocols. Then you find yourself now having to appear in court with your own lawyer, which is quite expensive. Cyber liability, part of the reason there are so many liability claims is because of cyber. I mentioned that our data is everywhere. Someone loses your data, then they will be liable in case it is used in the wrong manner or just because of breach of privacy. Product recall, I've mentioned about it. Any manufacturer needs to have that. Environmental liability, anyone in oil and gas, it's the most important policy. Or anyone where there's some form of waste disposal or chemicals involved. We can go to the next, which is actually the last slide before we go to the questions and answers. Now, marine also has a form of liability. Aviation, it has some form of liability. Motor vehicle, it is also one of the compulsory policies to have in Kenya. So the comprehensive bit is not compulsory, but this motor third party liability bit is compulsory, so that if you cause injury or damage to someone's motor vehicle or property, then your insurance comes in. Otherwise, we would have so many vehicles not on the road because of incidences. Commercial general liability, also for medium to large businesses, covering all their liabilities in one policy. Tenant liability, not so common in Kenya, but for some businesses, it is important and they're taking up. Employment practices liability, increasingly becoming important because of what I mentioned about awareness, rights, lawyers everywhere wanting to help clients. So it's a very important policy to have, especially if you're in an industry where it's a workforce driven. Errors and omissions, that is the directors and officers liability, could be professional or business decisions that cause liability on the other side. Fiduciary liability, yes, where you are a trustee. I know some of you here are trustees in the pension of the organization, pension schemes. Yeah, so you find that members can one day decide that we've been losing so much because of mismanagement as a or as in your decisions, and then they take you to court and you'd be held liable. Excess liability, yeah, large corporations are taking that. Contractors liability, anywhere you see construction, including the roads that are being done right now, there has to be contractors liability insurance, whereby the contractor insures the project until full completion. So we're also seeing it even in our home, someone just doing their own residential building, and they take up a contractor's liability insurance so that if something happens before completion, you get compensated. After completion, you are able to take a fire and domestic package insurance, but no, during construction period, you need this separate cover. Warehouse keepers liability. I know there are so many warehouses. You are keeping someone's goods. If anything goes wrong, then you'd be held liable. So these are the main liability policies, and it was an area that people were not focusing on so much earlier. But right now, because of what is happening with the litigation, they are on the rise, and that's why we needed to have this conversation. Yeah, so thank you very much. I'll take it back to Sheba and Maureen maybe to guide us from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for that wonderful presentation. Very informative indeed. I now take back to the participants. Please feel free to put in your questions at the chat box, or even if you want to unmute your mic, please raise your hand. I'll unmute you. Then you'll proceed to ask any questions that you may have regarding today's presentation. Anyone with a question? Thank you, Mary. Maureen, kindly unmute Mary. Mary Nduku, other question.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. My question is, I was asking about the review root cause when the insurance company is conducting an investigation, maybe when there is a running down or maybe an accident has occurred. Why I came across some cases whereby the investigator from the insurance company was colluding with an advocate when they were going to, when he or she was going to do the investigation on, or maybe on the place of where the accident has occurred, and then it came to a conclusion that the person who was doing the investigation from the insurance company, I think he was getting some amount, and the cases were so many which went to court. Can you kindly identify why this happened, or why it happens?
Thank you so much, Mary, for your question. Dennis, I hope you've had a question on review root cause in case of an accident.
Yes,
you can respond.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Mary, that happens a lot. We are living in a world where you really don't know who to trust. So we've also seen such cases. An investigator, a lawyer, you find that even so I guess they're called laws adjusters. They sometimes they collude and ends up being very, very costly. So what to do is part of what we are talking about. As a client or as an entity, you need to have your records in order. And in case you find that you cannot trust a service provider like an investigator or a lawyer, you just get opinion from somewhere else. The same way, if you've been going to hospital for the same condition, sometimes you change hospitals and you hear the other side. So we also do that in the insurance world. Sometimes we get an investigation report, then you'll find our claims team writing indicating that another investigator has been appointed. Then we look at both reports and we can now try and see the gaps. So it's a challenge. I would not say we have a solution for it. It's a moral hazard, but there's always a solution as soon as it can be identified. I hope I've answered your question, Mary.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much.
I have seen some people putting their questions on the chat box. I'm going to read. Evelyn Odongo is asking, she's familiar with the terms of bail insurance, goods in transit, carrier's liability. She's asking, where do they come in? Are there no standard terms to refer to a cover? Is it that every underwriter will have its own brand name? Kindly respond to that, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you for that from Evelyn Odongo. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm happy that you've raised this. Yes, there is Bailey Insurance and GIT. So Bailey Insurance is close to what I have mentioned as a warehouse liability. But of course, the other Baileys, not only warehouse owners, goods in transit, and carriers liability. This is a very important question because there has been so many claims in the industry where I've seen people struggle. You see, the owner of the goods needs to every time have a goods in transit policy. This is not a liability policy, but you're only covering your goods as they are in transit. So forget about that. There's a subcontractor, there's a courier company that is handling your goods. Just have them covered. Then the carrier, the transporter needs to have their carrier's liability policy. So two policies should be there for the same risk, but the risks are a bit different if you look at it because goods in transit, you're covering your own goods. Carrier's liability, the carrier is covering their liability in case it is said that the loss would not have occurred unless they were negligent. So sometimes there could be an incident where it is beyond the carrier. And if you rely on the carrier's liability policy, it's a liability policy. So there's no proof of negligence. Then the insurer of the carrier is going to take you back to your own policy, which is a goods in transit policy. So at least I think we need to understand that those two should go hand in hand. Yes, yes. So you mentioned about the brand name. I didn't get that clearly, Sheba. Maybe you can repeat that part.
Yes, I can. She says, are there no standard terms to refer to a cover? Is that every underwriter will have its own brand name?
Okay, okay. Yes, yes. So the coverage is quite standard. And the names that we give to the policies, sometimes they can be confusing. So like you might think that an insurer who is offering a carrier's liability policy is also covering your goods and you need a goods in transit policy. Then you find that it is talking to a whole different uh, kind of coverage. So the products are the same, but sometimes there is a mix up of us thinking that since I have goods in transit policy, I do not have to check whether there's a carrier's liability policy on the side of my contractor, the transporter. So it's not that we are using different companies are using different names for their products. It's actually because the products are different. So I hope I have answered Evelyn.
You've answered the
Yes.
question.
Yes, you have. This is Evelyn. And I have another question. Out of the list of covers that you've given, are you able to also just briefly indicate which one of these covers are payable on demand and which ones have to go to court before a claim is paid?
All right. Yes, also a very important question. So as a general rule, since liability is very subjective, when an incident happens, it is very hard to say that we have found that our client was negligent and we are going to pay. So as a general rule, all claims for liability should end up in court. But now what happens, sometimes it could be that our client does not want to go to court or our client is convinced that they were to blame. So we've over time, the insurance industry has become a bit flexible in not taking all cases to court because usually we should leave that decision to a judge to indicate that, oh yes, you are coming from this direction and him from this, you are liable. It is the only organ that can be trusted to make the decisions because the two parties will always argue. So what we are doing right now, we are doing out of court settlements for all those classes that I've mentioned. So the first option is to do it out of court. So what we do is that we get our lawyers so that it is not very subjective. It's according to law. Our lawyers, and then the other party or the insurance company brings their lawyer. Then we come to a conclusion of having some form of quantum, which can be agreed amongst the parties. So we are coming from taking all liability claims to court, including motor vehicle injuries. You get the family of the other parties to sit on a table with their lawyer and with our lawyer, and we agree that $1 million is a good compensation, and then we formalize that arrangement. So that is what we are doing now. So I'll not say that there are classes where we have to go to court, and the other one we just go, we pay on demand, or if there's a demand letter. So we are now very flexible in order to save time as an industry, and to also avoid a lot of unnecessary cost and time when you go the legal way. Evelyn.
Thank you so much, Dennis, for addressing that question. I can see Evelyn also is asking another question. What type of insurance is industrial all risk, fire, and peril?
Okay.
What type of insurance is industrial all risk, fire, and peril?
Okay. Yes, let me start with the fire and perils. And anyone who has premises should have this policy. Just covering against fire. The reason fire is insured separately is because fire can damage everything. You may not insure against burglary. There's so much that a thief can do in a short time, but fire, even in a short time, can damage everything. So fire and perils covers fire. Then over time, other perils have been introduced, like the social perils. Social perils are like riots, strikes, malicious damage, and then the natural perils. Natural perils, we have things like wind, falling trees, flood, which has become quite a key risk today. So under fire and perils policy, those are covered. But then you hear of another term called industrial all risks, or others call it assets all risks. So it is an upgrade of the fire and perils policy. So what happens, you not only have the fire being covered, social, natural perils, and others, but you have it as an all risk policy. All risks meaning that anything that can cause material damage to that property is covered under one policy. So we don't have to name social perils, natural perils. We cover anything that would happen to those assets. That's why it's called an asset or risk or an industrial or risk, covering all incidences that affect an industry for that matter. So that is the difference. The difference is that industrial risk is a more enhanced fire and perils policy. So it has burglary inside, it has machinery breakdown inside, and it also has the consequential loss, the loss of gross profits in case of an incident. It is also inbuilt.
Thank you, Dennis. Evelyn is also asking, what is plant and machinery? Is it standalone? Where can it apply?
Yes, plant and machinery, it can either be part of the industrial or risks, or it can be separate. So how do you decide whether it's separate? So if on your insurance register, fire and perils is a standalone class, is not an industrial or risk policy, then you need another policy, that is the plant and machinery policy. Because if you insure plant and machinery and the fire policy, which you can, because you'll insure buildings there, you'll insure stock and all equipment there in that fire and perils policy. But if you do have some specialized equipment, that cover under fire and perils is not adequate. So you either convert the fire and perils policy to be an industrial risk policy, or retain the fire policy and have a standalone plant and machinery policy. So the reason it is a standalone is because it covers now more than the fire policy covers, not just the fire and natural and social perils, but it will also cover any other accidental damage. You see, an equipment that is moving can also damage itself. The fire policy is not going to cover that. The machine is lifting an equipment, ends up damaging your own surrounding property. The fire policy may not cover that. So you need this separate plant and machinery policy, and it should always be accompanied by a policy we call machinery breakdown policy. So machinery breakdown policy covers the mechanical and electrical bits of the risk. Plant and machinery is a material damage cover. So it covers anything that happens to the machine or when the machine is working. Now, these machines they are run through electricity. So they have the electric side and the mechanical side. So if a loss is purely because of those two, then a machinery breakdown policy is best suited for such risk. So they should always go together. I hope I have answered that.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And that marks the end of our question and answer session. I still see that we still have questions. However, because of time, we will allow you to read to us. We will answer your question, all your questions, and call one of us. We will share our contacts at the end of this. So thank you so much for the meeting today. Thank you for the training, Dennis. You've done so well. Thank you so much, Evelyn Odongo. Sorry we've not answered like 3 of your questions, but feel free to us. We'll be able to answer all the questions that you may have. We have extended our meeting by 30. We wouldn't want to extend more, but we really thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. We'll answer all your questions. Worry not, Evelyn. We will read to you, or rather read to us. We will answer all your questions. And any other person that you have any question regarding risk and insurance, we are here for you, to serve you, and to give the best services. So before we conclude, I will allow Dennis to give his final remarks and to tell us whether we have what we do, other classes that we offer here. Then we will conclude with a word of prayer.
Okay, thank you, Sheba. Yeah, I think my final remarks is just to remind us that it's always better to be proactive. Let us look at these liabilities, what can go wrong. Please engage our teams. We have a team of risk engineers here. Our employer has allowed them for any client in our books to conduct risk surveys to help you come up with an insurance register, like what Evelyn is asking about. Why do we have this? Why don't we have this? All that, instead of waiting when there's a major incident to come and review the policies when you have already lost. Let us take the proactive way of risk management, and you can feel free to reach us. And the 3 remaining questions, we are going to answer them via email, and any other that any other person is going to send via our contact. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dennis. Now let us pray before we end the meeting. Shall we pray? Almighty and everlasting Father, we thank you for the wonderful meeting that we've had. Thank you for everything that we've learned on liabilities and all classes of insurance. We pray that you may continue leading us and guiding us in every aspect of our life. And we thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Same to you. Thank you.